Pam,
Well, hello there. Another episode of Onward.
we're back. We keep doing this. We're enjoying it. I
We're
don't know if
enjoying
anybody
it.
else watches it, but we're
We,
enjoying it.
I know, and I find the conversations like really help me think it through, right?
Hmm.
And you can sit there on your own and just think about it, but to be able to bat it back and forth and have different perspectives,
Yep.
I learn something every single time we chat about it. So it's great.
Well, you could have that conversation with AI.
I know I could. I know I could, but I actually enjoy the human interaction too.
Yes,
Yeah.
as do I.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so today, one of the things I thought we could talk about is this concept of AI slop. And what that really means is that, there is low effort, low quality, truly clearly AI generated content out there. And it's really prioritizing speed and volume over perhaps, substance and meaning. And so there is a role for AI created content out there for sure. The question is, how do you actually leverage it in a way that, strengthens your personal brand, whether it's online, whether it's, writing an email, whether it's creating a presentation, whatever, as opposed to it not being great quality and detracting from your brand.
Hmm.
And there's so much content out there now. How do we think about that? So maybe I'd start with that framing and what's your
Yeah,
initial reaction to that, and then we can go into maybe how do we prevent it.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? So when we started, you know, um, our social media campaign in earnest, right, which was not that long ago, we from the get go decided to leverage AI to help produce
Hmm.
that content. Um, and I'll be honest, we threw a couple things out there that were low effort, and we should have put more effort into them. And that
Hmm.
is slop, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't too long after that though that we realized that okay, we need to add value and actually. I mean, it's not just about having something out there;
Yeah.
it's about adding value, right?
Right. Hmm.
So we switched up a little bit, and the kind of idea we came up with was okay. Well, yes, we have this concept and we want to talk about that, but let's throw in another aspect to it, right? So it's something unique. It's not something that you could just search for Google and find it. It's
Yeah.
something that, okay, it's taking two concepts, maybe two,
Hmm.
maybe three, maybe just a different point of view
Yeah.
and applying that to what might be there. And we saw a lot better, more valuable content where, somebody might be interested to read it and learn something. Um, from it, and um, that seems to be working much better, and we feel much better about it, right? We're
Yeah.
not just generating more slop that goes out there
Hmm.
uh, on the internet. Um, so yeah, I mean, we've been guilty. We've kind of checked ourselves, but there's also, the whole social media marketing idea is a lot of it's about volume,
Hmm.
right? And if you're pushed to create a bunch of volume and you've got this tool to help you do that, and it sounds pretty good and it looks pretty good. But is it just, are you adding more value?
Right. Yeah. And is it good enough? Right. And I think that that's interesting. And so maybe let me just tie that to an example in my sphere. Uh, as you know, I teach a leadership course in the executive MBA program for the Kellogg Schulich program, and the whole point of the course is for the students to develop their own philosophy on leadership. And I ask them to do a lot of reflecting. And reflecting is very personal. And that is not something you can really outsource to AI. You can outsource, give me some questions that I need to think about as I reflect on my leadership. But it's interesting when I see their written assignments, I can tell who has used AI to write their assignment for them as opposed to, and I'm not opposed to somebody writing everything out and then having AI help them just strengthen their writing style.
Hmm.
um, I mean, the beautiful thing about our school is we have a lot of international students who, whether they are immigrants or they come here just to go to school, but English is not their first language. And I appreciate the value that an AI tool can help them with that.
Hmm.
But when they're outsourcing the thinking they have to do, and that's the whole point of this course is to do
Yeah.
your own thinking, I think that is a disservice. And then the work product becomes more slop like.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting balancing act.
It's really going to be about what people decide to do, and I'm sure there's going to be always going to be the full spectrum, right? There's
Hmm.
going to be some people like I am going to write this myself from the get go,
Yeah.
to people that are going to leverage it for research, to people that are going to brainstorm with it, to people that are just going to crank out a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and to your point about recognizing that it's been written by AI.
Hmm.
I mean, that's definitely the case right now. I don't
Hmm.
think it'll be too long where it'll be
A lot
indiscernible.
harder.
Like you can't tell, right?
Hmm.
Um, it'll just start making a bunch of mistakes on purpose, things like that.
Yeah.
And especially as it learns to know you better and your writing style and all that other stuff,
Hmm.
which may get harder to do if you start using it to write everything.
Right. Yeah. It becomes your writing style.
Right.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to, my other, I don't know if I'd call it concern, but my observation is that, you got all this slop, as you call it, out there, right? And it's on the internet, and AI basically is trained on the internet. So now
Mm.
it's going to be training itself on the slop that it created. And what is the overall impact of that? And one of the things I can kind of, relate it to is, for writing code, we use all kinds of AI tools. Um, and the basic ones where you use it as a partner to code with
Hmm.
are what we find the most effective.
Yeah.
The ones that you try to get it to do everything,
Hmm.
they will get to a point where they just have written so many things kind of in different directions and
Yeah.
whatever that it just won't work anymore, right? You'll
Yeah.
keep making changes and you get to a point where it won't work anymore.
Hmm.
And that's kind of my concern about the slop that's out there
Yeah.
is eventually it's just going to not know what's,
Yeah. And to that point, because as it creates new things, as it is still prone to hallucination, that work product gets out there
Mhm.
inaccurate and it becomes part of the new training,
Yeah.
right? And so, to your point, like at what point do we get farther and farther away from accuracy and facts and the truth?
Yeah.
And at what point does the hallucination outweigh it? And I think that's like it's an interesting philosophical dilemma to think through. But I also like your point around like you use the word partner, and I think of if we can really use these tools as our partners, as our assistants. You've talked a lot before in previous episodes how it becomes a devil's advocate for you.
Hmm.
You're thinking through things, as it explains complex topics. And then we keep doing the prioritization and the judgment and putting, our context into it that, it doesn't know enough about yet. I think that's interesting to be able to balance it out there, but it's a balancing act as opposed to just outsourcing everything to it.
Yeah. And when I think of kind of a guiding principle, I like to kind of think of it as I'm putting my name on this, whether it be my company's name or my own personal name, and I want to make sure that it's representing me how I want to be represented.
Hmm.
And 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 I am not against getting it to do the work,
Yeah.
but I am all for making sure that it's making me come across like I want to
Right.
be
And
in
if you
the
think of it just like in that sense, it's like another employee,
true.
right? And
Yeah.
so, every employee has to live up to the standards that you set for the organization.
Yeah.
And whether that's ethics, whether that is quality, whatever. And so your organization's brand, your personal brand are on these things.
That's interesting. It makes me think of, I heard in a podcast, I forget which one, a while back, about, I think it was IBM or somebody did a deal with PeopleSoft, and they're treating AI tools like employees
Mm-hmm.
because they have to have similar things, right? Like you have to track them, you have to understand what their resources are, you have to track what they have access to,
Yeah.
right? The privileges in the
Mm-hmm.
system and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of other
Security.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, which was really, I don't know, it kind of knocked me back a bit
Yeah.
to realize, how much it is like having an employee.
Mm-hmm.
You have to train it, you have to make sure it represents you well, you have to, you know you don't have to give it time off, which
Yeah.
which
That's
which
helpful.
which is helpful, and they take feedback actually very well,
Yeah. That's
always, and they're
true.
very patient,
Yeah.
um but yeah, it's interesting how we kind of shift there. Anyways, we're
Yeah.
off the topic of
No, no,
slop.
I think it's relevant because that's, I think when you think about how you get employees to do great work for you, it is in fact how you treat them as much as how they treat you,
Hmm.
and how you interact with them. And you say, okay, well, you're doing this part of the work, clear expectation, I'm doing this part of the work.
Hmm.
And just know that there are different roles to be played here, and it's not doing everything for you. There is a
Yeah.
role for you in whatever the task is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until we get to a stage where there are fully automated businesses or AIs that actually create businesses on their own, and they just kind of run on their own and do their own thing. And
It's interesting. One of the areas that industry sectors that is at risk very, very clearly is advertising agencies.
mm,
And both on the creative side and on the media planning and the media execution.
mhm.
And I saw somebody on LinkedIn recently, and he is actually in charge of an AI agency inside his organization. And it's like fully an AI agency. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Now, that is the epitome of disrupt yourself before somebody else
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
right? And try it out. But I thought, so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they would have to be really, really mindful of AI slop because, like, absolutely, it may not be their brand out there in the world, but it's their brand that their customers, their
Yeah.
clients are going to like work with or not.
Which are very valuable
Very
in
valuable
many
brands.
cases. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't anticipate it slowing down.
Hmm.
One thing I heard about on a podcast was about it was automating user generated content,
Hmm.
which was that what they talked mostly about was customer reviews,
Oh,
which I'm like, wait a minute. So these aren't even real customer reviews,
yeah.
right?
It's not authentic.
No. Now it was right around the time Sora 2 came out, and I kind
Hmm.
of played with the idea,
Right.
and I actually posted on LinkedIn one of
Hmm.
the videos we created of it, um, which was fascinating, but it was so real
Yeah.
that I'm like, wow. I mean, that's kind of in my mind the ultimate slop, right? Is
Yeah.
creating a bunch of false product reviews
Hmm.
with AI that look like real people. I mean that.
Right. And that goes back to your brand again, like the trust that people have in your brand to be authentic.
Hmm.
That ever, if that gets out, that an organization is doing that,
Yeah.
the internet will eat them up.
Yeah.
And I
So,
don't know that you can get back from that kind of damage to your brand. Yeah.
well, it would be hard for sure, but
Yeah. Yeah.
today's world, you never know.
You never know. Everything changes so fast. But
Yeah, indeed.
so maybe just to wrap this up, I think for me, it's very much around how do we use these tools to help us, but not replace our own brand that gets out there in the world, making sure that whatever we put out there, whether it's online, whether it's a presentation at work or an email that you're sending, like take the necessary steps to make sure it sounds like you, it is authentically you, and it is something that you would be proud of.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Something you can show to your mother and not be embarrassed.
Exactly. Exactly. Yet again, our mother comes into the
Right?
podcast. She's going to love
Hey,
it.
she was a big influence on us.
That's right. That's right. So, Anyway,
All
okay,
right. Well, this has
good.
been fun again.
Excellent, excellent. We've got more action to take, so onward.
We'll see you then.
All right.
Onward.